if we would implement inquiry more in the classroom, the idea of inquiry science, would that help enhance the science fair experience for the students?
Welcome, everybody, to the Inquiry Zone, and I am John Taylor, Director of the STEM Education here at ETHOS Innovation Center.
And I am Douglas Hunnings. I'm the Director of the Primary STEM Education here at ETHOS Innovation Center.
And this episode, the discussion would be, what about groups? What do you think about team projects and individual projects on science fair?
Well, I personally haven't done group projects, but I think it's very valuable. Just like if we do any type of group work in the classroom outside of science, I think it's good because it not only allows the different ideas to come together within the students, but it really teaches them to learn how to work with somebody who may disagree with an idea, and that allows them those life skills of communication and to really come to a compromise or an agreement on what needs to occur, which I loved about group work. And I think that would be a great experience with science fair. But one thing I caution though, is if you're going to do group work, each of the students really need to understand that inquiry process, because otherwise you can open up a whole other can of worms if students don't understand what they're doing, and they're going to start arguing over process rather than to debate the content.
Yeah, I do think with what's happening in classrooms today, that teamwork is easier to do because the kids are more used to doing it. It happens quite often. And a concern I would have, in fact, I would say in my past, I would tell students this year, we're not doing any team projects. And that was just because you'd end up with one student doing a lot of work and one or two students just watching it happen. And you don't want that to happen. That's always the concern. But there are solutions to this to make that happen. One thing I would do, I moved to next, what I tried was let students work off in teams, but that was good for the beginning, and I'm talking secondary, so it's kind of higher level, but I let the students start off in a team. I think you do this at junior high and elementary too, but at some point now they had to go off independently. So they could start together, but they had to finish separate. They had to do their own reports and do their own investigations. And usually what happened is through the process of them doing the first discussion, they'd have multiple questions. And so as a teacher, it's a time we say, hey, why don't you take that one and you could take that one, and you guys you can keep talking. All right. So the ladies can keep talking as they do their science, and that's okay. Another strategy, which I'd really encourage, is if you want students to work as a team, you've got to teach them to work as a team. And that's another process. That means delegating out that as one student's working with another student, maybe one student is taking, doing the notes with things. Another one is focusing maybe on the hypothesis, but they have different roles that they're doing as they are moving through the investigation. And that's a discussion I would ask for students who are working as a team, was right off the bat, who's doing what? Who's responsible for what? And then it makes it more of a fair shake going forward.
I agree. I think that's a good strategy. And we even with our trainings, that's something that schools can be able to offer to learn more about, that whole idea of working within a group and how to help make sure everybody is, would say, pulling their own weight within the science experience.
Definitely.
So kind of overall thinking of the question that was brought up at the beginning, of how can you implement an inquiry in the classroom really enhance the whole idea of a science fair and the experience? I mean, I think it will help improve it. I think it'll make it better for not only the student, the teacher, the parents, I think everybody. And I think they'll start to value it more and really see it as a learning and teaching tool rather than an extra assignment or extra project.
Right. And we did get in the weeds, and you and I could talk about this probably for another half hour, but we do want to bring it back that as a teacher, if you're using the inquiry model with what you're doing with the kids, that they're going to do it and learn, internalize that process. And then when it comes time for doing a science fair, just say, do like we do in class. Okay. I know, Douglas, you give some really nice guides to students when they present too. You've got a whole schema, which is something we share with those we work with, but it's a nice schema as far as how to go through a presentation. And I tell you, as a science fair judge for many years, if a kid had a little card, a little second grader's got that little card, or even fourth grader that they're going down their list, I didn't mind at all. They're just learning the process, and it helps them to do a better job and feel more comfortable.
And once students go through that process that we share, they'll become more confident and they can start going away from that note card.
Yes.
And they feel confident to stand up and talk, judge, or class, teacher, whoever they're presenting to. We wanted to see it as a natural fit.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of in-class presentations too.
Oh yes, me too.
It's fun. It's so much fun for them all to take their turn, get up there. And the first one is nerve-wracking, and that means you got to do at least more than once, twice, 2 or 3 times a year, because then they get past their nerves and they're like, it becomes fun. And it's cool when the kids can actually have fun with their presenting science. Neat stuff.
And one thing I want to remind teachers and everybody who's watching, when you're starting to implement inquiry yourself, don't get discouraged if the science fair that first year doesn't go as you wanted to, as smoothly or as planned, because it's a process. It takes time, just in anything that we do in education, this will do. But you start implementing it on a regular basis, each year you should see an enhanced science fair or experience for your kids. So I want to kind of get out there like, these are great ideas, but I know for me as a teacher, I would be excited to implement it. And if something didn't go well that first time, I would feel like I'm doing something wrong. I would be discouraged.
No, so the first year or two, especially the first year, is so much learning. But I tell you, once you get things in place, and then it's like, you just do the same thing. Science fair can be actually very easy to implement with your students. If you get them trained and you got a good scheme for how you do your grading and your assessments and all that, and you're good to go.
So, and it should become an exciting experience instead of something that people dread.
A celebration. You almost wish we could take away the ribbons. And I am not a fan. I'll just throw this out. I'm not a fan of giving students participation ribbons. They will feel like a failure, even third place ribbons. I'm sorry. It just, I'd rather no ribbon than give one of those out. But not that everybody has to get a first place. I understand that. But, I do think it's a time to celebrate science. That's what it should be. It should be a very special time for those students.
Well, what a year it's been, John.
Wow. We've made almost like 30 episodes this year of our Inquiry Zone on Fridays, and looking forward to many more as we're working with teachers and just trying to help the science happen.
So thank you all for all the questions. We had some great discussions this season, and please go back and review them and watch them, and also continue sending those questions.
Look at the bottom, use the link, send them our way. We love to talk about it.
And you guys have a great summer, and we'll see you next fall for season 2.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you. Ethos recognizes the hard work of teachers at Munger and Cleveland elementary schools completing baseline inquiry training, and the teachers at Fairfield Community Schools completing Level 2 Train the Trainer inquiry training. Thanks to our partner schools for your dedication to your students. Ethos offers the Inquiry Zone professional development to schools, helping to ensure a robust, fun, and cross-curricular approach to science is supported in all grades. Please contact us at contact@ethosinc.org.